To get really good versions of coils and weaves in Zero Dawn, of course you can just grind hunting large machines since they'll drop 3 purple ones every time. And you know I love me a Thunderjaw hunt as much as the next Horizon addict, but I want to show you a much faster and easier way to get top tier mods. Over here at this Sawtooth site just west of Meridian, there's a chance that a dead behemoth will spawn along with the 2 Sawtooths, and when it does, it spawns with all of its loot, so you can easily just grab the 2 guaranteed purple mods every time. And there's a way to get that loot to respawn infinitely so you can keep looting as many purple mods as you want. But first, you just need to get the dead behemoth to spawn. I like fast traveling to this campfire right here south of Meridian by the Strider site. Then I call my mount and start heading northwest towards the Sawtooth site. When you get close to the river, you can actually just follow these Banuk marker posts to lead you in the right direction. These posts eventually lead to a painted rock with one of the Banuk figures at the top, but you only need to get to the Sawtooth site. If the behemoth is there, it spawns right over here, which is just north of the Sawtooth site icon on the map. And don't worry if you don't get it the first time. It could take something like 5 to 10 attempts reloading from save and going over to that spot to check if you've got it. I've tested it on the most recent PS5 and PC patches, so I promise it does work, and if it ever stops working, I'll update the pinned comment below. But once you do finally get it to spawn, you can just run in and grab the loot and then turn around and ride back out following the posts until you get to the last one right by the road. Then just make a turn around that post by the road and head straight back. You don't have to fast travel or reload from save or anything like that once you get the behemoth to spawn the first time. In fact, you don't want to fast travel. You just want to ride back and forth following those posts, and the behemoth body will stay there, but its loot will respawn every time. Just make sure you don't ride too far away or the body will despawn, and then you will have to start reloading from save or fast traveling back and forth from other campfires to get it to spawn again. Doing laps back and forth to that post by the road and going around it each time is the perfect distance to get the loot to respawn, but keep the body there every time. Now, of course, that pair of pesky Sawtooths are going to respawn every time too. If you're quick, you can just grab the loot and ignore them, but if they start attacking you or you want to take them down each time for some extra loot, they do spawn close to the behemoth. So you can trigger the frost canisters on it to explode and freeze them, which helps take them out pretty quick. And there's also a sparker canister on the behemoth that you can trigger for an explosion as well. Shout out to my friend VB for discovering this behemoth. And there's actually another one over here in the Rustwash west of the campfire and Strider site and directly north of Kestrel's Perch. It's in the middle of a stand of cacti, and you'll probably have to deal with some scrappers and possibly some other machines as well. Again, it could take a number of attempts fast traveling to this campfire or reloading from save to get the behemoth to spawn. But once you've got it, the route I like to use for this one is riding east across the road near the stone archway and then along the edge of the ridge heading directly towards Sheaf's Flight. You don't actually want to go all the way to the settlement though. I just make a 180 around the last dead tree and then head back to the behemoth to grab more loot. Shout out to my friend Grovesinger for finding that one. But if you don't want to deal with the machines at these spots each time, or they aren't working for you for some reason, there are a couple of other ways to do this purple mod respawn trick. The first way involves more behemoths and requires that you've started the hammer and steel errand, which you can pick up in free heap after completing both the City of the Sun and Heap of Trouble quests. Once you start hammer and steel, you'll get to a point in the quest where you're talking with Jorgriz and Baladga out near the arch, and when you get the option to go with them or go hunting on your own, you need to choose hunting alone. Then just go ahead and kill the machines, including the behemoths that are part of the convoy, and loot them. But at this point, you want to stop progressing the quest. Instead, we're going to do basically the exact same thing as those other behemoth spawns. So call up your mount and ride out east along the river until you get to about this point right here, and then turn around and head back. Once you get back to the dead machines, their loot will have respawned and you can grab it all again, including the purple mods from the behemoths. In fact, this method is a bit nicer than the other behemoths because as long as you don't go deliver the cables to Petra to advance the quest, you can leave these dead machines and come back to them at any point during your playthrough to farm more purple mods. And you can do something very similar with the Thunderjaw you hunt during the Healer's Oath errand, which you can pick up from a boss in the camp outside Sunfall. But you need to make sure you don't have a Thunderjaw heart on you before starting this errand. So if you've already got one, sell it or scrap it, and then progress the errand until you get to the point where you need to hunt a Thunderjaw. Head to the valley where you need to hunt it, which is actually near that Rustwash behemoth, and take it down. But make sure you don't take all the loot. it's critical that you leave the heart behind. So loot all the purple mods and the other items individually and make sure you leave the heart. Then, just like the other methods, call up your mount, ride back to the campfire at the opening of the valley, loop around it, and head back to the Thunderjaw body to loot more mods. As long as you leave that heart behind every time and never talk with Gleave to progress this errand, the Thunderjaw will stay here forever and give you purple mods every time you come back to it. Of course, these methods of purple mod farming require that you've played fairly far along, so I also want to show you a way to farm purple mods super early while you're still in the Embrace. But first, let me show you how to get lots of shards super easily. This one is so simple, it's kinda hilarious. So first, get yourself standing right next to your favorite merchant. I like this fine gentleman here in Song's Edge, but any merchant will work. Now, open up your inventory and go to the Traps and Potions tab, and just go ahead and drop all your traps and potions on the ground. Notice how I only have one of each at the moment. Once you've dumped them all, we're gonna do something really exciting and pick them all back up again. And then, yes, go into your inventory and dump them all on the ground again. I know, it sounds stupid, but when you drop them all the second time, you'll see that they've actually doubled in quantity. So you've just duplicated all your potions and traps. And you can keep doing this again and again to continue duplicating for more and more copies. Of course, this is a nice way to top off on potions and traps, but you're also going to end up with a bunch of extra you can cash in for shards at the merchant. And yeah, it's really that simple. Just keep dropping and picking up all your potions and traps, and you'll get tons of them very quickly. But if that method feels a little too cheap for you, let me give you some more legit ways to cash in for some shards fast and also clean up your inventory at the same time. Of course, we've got all the common tips here, like selling off unused resources and lower rarity coils and weaves you don't need. And of course, you should also check through your treasure box tab every once in a while to grab loot out of those boxes you've probably been ignoring. But you're probably also hanging on to a bunch of lenses you don't need either. See, machine lenses are only ever used for a few things, and after you've got those items, there's no reason to have lenses clogging up your limited inventory space anymore. The main thing lenses are used for is purchasing all the blue outfits. So if you've already got all the blue outfits you ever want, you're well on your way to not needing lenses anymore. Once per playthrough, you can also trade 4 specific lenses for the 4 blue gleam boxes at the mystery box merchant in Meridian. You do need the Frozen Wilds DLC for this guy to be here, which is included with the remastered version of the game, by the way. But as long as you can find him, you can trade a Behemoth, Rockbreaker, Stormbird, and Thunderjaw lens for the boxes, and you'll get a piece of blue gleam in each one, which is a relatively simple way to get some of the blue gleam you need for the Banuk bows that are for sale in the Frozen Wilds, which are arguably the best bows in the game. The mystery box merchant also has some other boxes for sale that require special items to purchase, like the charcoal burner box that requires dirty chunks. You get those from the eclectic collectibles merchant just a little ways away on the Meridian main loop, and some of her items do require some lenses. You'll also need a long leg, snapmaw, and lancehorn lens for a few side quests. And in the Frozen Wilds, the basic versions of the Ice Rail, Stormslinger, and Forgefire each require a Fireclaw, Frostlaw, and Scorcher lens respectively. So even though there's a couple dozen lenses in the game, once you've got all the blue outfits you want, you'll only ever need the 10 lenses we just mentioned for the specific items and activities. And if you've already done those or you don't care about them, then you'll never need any lenses again. Maybe a simpler way to look at this is there's also 7 lenses that never get used for anything at all. Those are Strider, Charger, Sawtooth, Bellowback, Stalker, Corruptor, and Deathbringer. So feel free to cash those lenses in anytime. Now, hearts, on the other hand, are generally worth hanging onto for most of your playthrough. Hearts are traded for the top rarity purple weapons and outfits, but even if you've got all the purple gear you want, if you ever decide to do New Game Plus, you'll find that the Adept versions of weapons that are for sale there, which have an extra mod slot, cost additional hearts. So if you ever think you might want to do New Game Plus, I'd hang on to hearts in your base playthrough so you've got them ready to go in New Game Plus. Now, there's a good chance you've been stacking Slagshine and Desert Glass as well, but you really only ever need to keep 1 stack of each of those since there's just a few items they ever get used for. The best one is the Banuk Werak Runner outfit, which has a really nice perk for passive health regeneration. So you can put this outfit on right after a fight to regenerate health for free and conserve your healing plants. You'll need 10 Slagshine slagshine and desert glass to buy it from a blue gleam merchant in the frozen wilds, or 20 of each on ultra hard. The two types of glass can also be traded for the Karja Warbow, which is a solid mid-game elemental bow that will give you access to frost and shock arrows. The Oseram Sparkworker Light and Oseram Arrowbreaker Light also require a bit of glass to buy if you want them. After that, you're safe to just sell off any extra desert glass, but you don't actually want to just sell off slagshine. Instead, consider trading slagshine for outlaw light boxes at the mystery box merchant in Meridian. These boxes always have between 3 and 6 traps, which are worth more to sell than the 25 shards you'll get for selling slagshine directly. And you'll want to make a similar trade with any processed metal blocks you have for scavenger dark boxes, which contain animal meat and a chance for a valuable animal item. Processed metal blocks come from scavenger machines like Glinthawks and Scrappers that have been grinding up scrap, by the way. But let's get back to mods. We already saw a few ways to farm really good ones, but maybe the easiest way can also be done super early while you're still in the Embrace. And I show you exactly how that works, along with other cool tips like how to use harvest arrows to get lots of resources and shards in this video right here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you over there in just a second.